Hi, it's Kat. Welcome to this week's art vlog and yap session. Today I'm going to be drawing, of course, and sharing my thoughts on the relationship between AI, art, and humanity. So, AI art and all things AI have really been on the rise, and it's a pretty controversial topic. So, a big question I've had is, what makes art human? Now, I definitely have a lot of questions regarding this issue, maybe more questions than answers I've come up with, because it's a huge topic. Here are just some of the thoughts I've had exploring this concept of quote-unquote humanness. Art is essential to humanity. It allows people to express themselves, communicate, and connect with others creatively. When people create art, it improves their mental health and ultimately contributes to their well-being. An important part of human art is its contribution to humanity's significance and its meaning as a species. The ability to create art with emotion and thought is unique to humans. So we know that human art takes time and effort, but how does this really bring meaning to a piece of art? If the result is the same, does the path we took to get it matter? And the answer to this is subjective. In many cases, a big part of artwork lies in the artist's meaning behind the piece. But if someone brings that same meaning, but instead inputs it into an AI for the artwork's execution, is that the same? Can the same result really be created by a computer algorithm? I'm not completely against AI because I for sure understand its use in increasing efficiency and things like that. But there is a time and place for it. AI work is considered unethical when it's portrayed as human work, and people falsely claim AI work as their own. When discussing this topic, it's especially important to realize the difference between design and art. Now, there are certainly overlaps between the two, but here's how I define the difference. Design is objective and material, a piece created to serve a material purpose or function. Art is created simply to be creative. It is made by a person with a desire to express themselves, invoke emotions, or an experience, or even just to make a mark on the world. I think that people are inherently social as a species. We want and need these connections with other people, connections that can be found through art. Contrary to what it may seem, the rise of AI art has actually been giving more value to human-made art. A part of experiencing an art piece is the connection between the artist and the viewer, the thoughts it's portraying, and the questions it's asking. Art is made for many, many reasons. Expression through mark making and creation is an essential part of the human experience and the human existence. If making art is what makes us human, then how can we define the human in art? AI is becoming more and more capable, and although people can argue that it's stealing from human artists' work and just recycling it to create new image, someone could also argue that that's how a lot of human artists work too. We recycle ideas and mix them together to create something new. But can AI really create something completely new that's never been seen before? Can anyone do that? I think we've reached a point in humanity where people have done so much, it's almost hard to be original when we take parts of everything that we experience. And I think there's something beautiful about that too. Right now, AI is limited to images online, ones that can't really grasp, for example, textures of paint or the fingerprints on a sculpture. So I think to go back to what really makes art human, a lot of it comes down to the basic human markings, the imperfections we leave because we're human. An AI can never give a piece its own meaning because all the meaning and purpose comes from us humans. Because some of this value of human art comes from the imperfections of being human, I think this just makes it even more important to create. This might sound cliche, but just create bad art. Create what you want to. From an artistic standpoint, I think that when we as a society begin to put more value in the process over the end result, people will be much happier. It's like if two people lift weights and one person is lifting it to change their body while the other person is lifting because they like to, the second person is more likely to be happy with themselves, and the end result is just a byproduct. When the end result is the reason that we do things at all, we often end up not only not making any progress, but also missing out on the things that will bring us joy. And for me, that's making art. And obviously, I'm not perfect. I get frustrated sometimes when something doesn't turn out the way I want to, or if it looks bad afterwards. So this is something I'm working on as well. And I'll be honest, the end result is a part of why I enjoy drawing, but it's because I'm proud of myself for being able to create something. If I asked an AI to generate something for me, I would never feel the same amount of pride because I didn't really do anything beyond inputting commands into a chat box. And even though I do enjoy the end result of my artistic efforts, it is so important to separate the effort from the outcome. And I think this can apply to so many different parts of life. The process of creating art is so important to my overall experience. When I focus on the pencil in my hand on the paper, the movement of my hands, and this desire to build skill rather than create results, it really does bring me joy. And I think that's what makes art human. Anyways, that's just my hot take. Some of these ideas are really abstract, but I had a lot of fun discussing this and creating this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts and see what you draw in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.